Well, greetings, and it is Saturday, that's right, and we're already on the 25th of January. Crazy how time passes. Did we have a fantastic time on Thursday night at the theatre on the square? And this young man here is the powerhouse visionary behind this astonishing, refreshing, completely new and totally engaging production called Musical Chairs. I'd like to introduce you to Genesis Shirindza. Welcome and thank you for joining us in this venue today.
Thank you very much, Renos.
Great. Okay, so Musical Chairs. The minute I saw that title, I thought, I remember playing musical chairs and how sometimes you're so happy because you manage to get to the chairs in time and then there's fewer chairs and then you always get a chair, and then when you don't get a chair, oh my gosh, you are crestfallen, maybe that's the word. So, Genesis, I also looked at your name. I'm fascinated by names, and I thought Charles Dickens would love your name because Genesis means giving birth to, or the beginning of, and you, sir, have given birth to a completely new type of theatrical experience. On Thursday night, on the opening night, Musical Chairs, the audience made up of people in the industry and others who are stalwarts who go to opening nights and so on. But Musical Chairs, I don't think that everybody expected what they got. And my goodness, they were more than surprised, entertained, and pleased. So what I'd like to do, because this kind of podcast goes to students who are studying drama, students who have graduated, and other actors and others who are interested in craft, dance, drama, storytelling. And just before I hand over to you to take us on a journey to find out a little bit about you, okay, because people might think, oh, he probably left school after school and went to study dance, and then he became a choreographer. No, not quite, you'll see. So, let's also ask you your name, Genesis, a very unusual name, if you could say something about that. But also, I love what you said, the title that you really, really hold dear to your heart, besides the many other titles like the qualifications. You'll hear. You said storyteller.
Yeah.
Love that, because you've taken everything in your life and all the things you do and you've put them onto that stage. Now, I hand over to you to tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's meet you.
All right. So that was a tough question, right? But Genesis, who is Genesis? I try not to put titles to, as I've said, right?
Yes.
And I try to, or what I've come to land on as to who is Genesis is taken from the biblical reference that I am. ...
Beautiful.
Anything that comes and meets me, I can be a part of that. And in my 30 years of living, I think I've managed to dabble in many things. Things that interest me, things that don't interest me, had to do the things that didn't interest me so that I could see, this doesn't interest me, therefore maybe that, maybe not that. And the name Genesis, my full name is Masungulu Genesis Shirindza, which is, Masungulu means the beginning as well in Tonga. I'm from a Tonga background from my father's side, my mom's side is Xhosa, Malawian, and that side of my dad as well. So Masungulu Genesis technically just means the beginning.
Okay.
Shirindza means one who waits, or a shepherd, one who looks after.
Wow.
Right, so
okay.
I think my name was very prophetic in when my parents chose it, and I asked why, and they said it was the beginning of good things. Which is ironic because there's like 5 of us, so I don't know what happened with the other 4. I don't know what the other 4.
Gosh.
That's me. That's something that I strive to kind of live towards, live around, to be the beginning of something, to give birth to something. Whether it's a bad experience with me, it's still something new, right?
Of course.
But, I believe that there's power in the name, and I've strived to live within my name, and it's not extremely difficult in that I've always been kind of like an outlier in spaces.
Right.
Even though I can be in spaces, I've always felt that I didn't fit in, which pushed me towards than just walking my own path, right? And I wouldn't say that I was like I was part of it. I was a popular kid, I did sports, I did all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I just didn't feel like I was the right piece in that puzzle. So much so that my science teacher in high school said you're like you're a square in a round hole.
In a round hole.
Yeah.
Gosh, the science teacher.
Yeah. Just don't. And I was like, well, that's a compliment, you know.
Well,
at the time it feels a bit weird, but then you bump into Steve Jobs' speech, and I was like, okay, cool, I get this.
Yeah, I'm there, I'm okay,
Yeah. And throughout all that time, do you want me to go?
Yeah, no, so what I wanted to do at this point is ask you, because I know a lot of students at school thinking of what are they going to do, and they don't have parents who say, oh, that's fine if you want to go into the arts, no problem. They usually say, look, just get a degree, so you know that whole story. What I wanted to ask you at school, did you get involved in the theatre and dance and the productions at school?
Yeah, I was in the review. I did the review,
right. Okay.
And street dance at the time was booming. Content was, you got served, stomp the yard, all of that stuff. So in community, everyone was dancing at the time, right? So I had a crew. Changed crews, went to another crew, and we did amazing as a crew.
And grew each time with new things, right?
Yes. And like that section of my life was really monumental because then I got to travel around the world or go overseas, compete there. And
in all of this, as that's all happening, you also get, let's put it in there for the parents, a degree, a qualification.
Yes.
Please tell us a little bit about that, because that's great balance.
Yeah.
You're like the perfect model to base on.
Right. So I was a fairly high achieving person in school.
Yeah.
Top 20 student. Would have liked to make top 10. I was 15. It was okay. At some point I was 11th, and I was like,
almost.
Almost. And then I went somewhere in me. I was like, I'm gonna be a cookie cutter human being, go to school, get a degree, get married, have children. I was like, this is it, you know. And I wanted to do architecture, but then I saw what they wanted. I was like, I can't do that. So I went for civil. I studied civil engineering, I had CPT, qualified, worked, and I was like, this is not it for me. But I felt it because while I was out, because I had to pay back my bursary.
Of course, yeah.
So I was on site, and I'm there in construction, and I'm dancing on site. And my guys are like, this guy. And I would feel myself getting drained, but then the dance thing was keeping me alive. And I just thought to myself,
fills your spirit, your soul.
Yeah. Instead of having to be filled every single time, let me just live in a thing that fills me, as opposed to getting drained and then getting drained. Let me just choose this. And I finished paying back my bursary. It was a 6-month bursary, and I said, I'm gonna go dance. And I auditioned for a film, Bring It On.
Okay, alright, okay.
Yes, the cheerleading one, got into it. Wasn't a huge role, just like a dance role there. Got into that, and I told my mom, I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done working. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm gonna go dance. And she's like, oh. And I think she was taken aback for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And then she's like, after that, she's like, hey, I'm not really sure about this. I said, what do you want me to do? And she was like, you're qualified. I was like, do you want me to go work? Yeah. Because I am working. Oh, as long as you're happy, Cool. And I danced corporately, got injured, stepped out of that, and I started asking myself the question of, is this why I started dancing, to dance corporately and do these gigs? Because I was not happy in that space.
Right, yeah. Creatively also, it puts you in the box, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I stepped out, and I was like, let me just go back to competing.
Right, okay.
And the way things worked out, did a competition, it led me to Singapore, competed there, did some amazing things.
Wow.
Went to Sydney.
What an experience.
Came back, and I was like, this is what I do, right? But in the long run, there was always a love for being in a theatre space, from being in the school review. And so one of the things that we did as the crew that I was with, fundraising to go to Las Vegas, we just decided to do like a theatre show. And it was like a variety show, but we said, let's do a show that's going to make us some money.
Yes.
We're going to go overseas, and we conceptualized it. We did it. I was myself and the late Kostetich, and we made it happen within a week. And it's like cool. And I just always had an affinity towards being in the theater space. I loved Step Up 2 for the theaterness of it. I don't know, there's just something about being, it's real, it's live, it's there. Right?
It's home.
Yeah, and I ventured into on-screen stuff, and it's cool.
But not quite like
Yeah, you don't have to think on your feet as much.
You know what, Genesis? Listening to you, you're doing what you came to do. That, this on your journey, in my opinion, it's a labor of love, and deep in your heart, inside your soul, that feeling of that's it. Yeah, and that comes across in every element, every aspect of musical chairs. Listening to your story, your whole journey towards musical chairs is reflected in there. So just to tell everybody, you enter the stage, maybe you haven't seen it yet, and if you haven't, book now, because there's a short run, okay? So you walk into the theatre and the stage is bare except for 4 chairs. And like I mentioned earlier, that the childhood memory of playing musical chairs, it's going to be one of the, then we can watch who doesn't make it. Yeah. But then when you read a little bit of the press release, it talks about the way in which social media or social interaction via the cell phone, right? Yeah. And meeting people on all these platforms. So what I wanted to ask you is to put that together. You have a fantastic cast, a group of 3 directors, choreographers. They are a powerhouse team like you are. I mean, you guys are like this. And one of the great, without any spoilers, there's an element of audience participation. So I would suggest that you sit near the front, okay? Have an experience. Okay, so tell us, how do you then decide, okay, that love for the theatre, I want to be in the theatre on the square or whichever theatre, musical chairs, the cast, the music, putting it together. Take us on that journey, please. Thank you, Genesis.
Wow. It's long.
Okay,
but I'll try to summarize it as much as I can.
Good.
So, the entity, the body, being the Locksmiths Collective, right?
Right.
Which is, in essence, it's me. Okay. And I'll break that down very quickly. You know how there's a blacksmith, there's a locksmith, there's a bismith.
Yes.
They are masters in the craft that they do.
Yes.
So I built locksmiths around that. I specialize in a style called camber locking, which is a dance style.
Okay.
Yes. So I called myself a locksmith.
Right.
And the collective is then everybody else that counts, and they're a different smith of everything. We're a popping smith, a media smith, a soul smith, and I've given the freedom to all of them to decide what they feel they are. And as a whole, we're locksmiths, and for you to become part of the Smith family, you must be a smith in something that you do.
Wow.
And how I choose these people based on their individuality and what they do and what they do.
Right.
I don't audition, I don't hold auditions. I'm in the community well enough, yes, to see, okay, cool. Even if you're not directly in the street scene, and I go watch a show and I get to interact with you. Like for example, Siobhan Pina, she was part of Hope School of the Arts, and I went to go watch a show there, and I told her I want you to be part of the show. Yeah.
You see the light that they had, right?
Yeah. Sure. I want you to be part of the show. But over the years, and Locksmiths Collective has been living for the last 10 years, and it has been myself and Sipho Didiza from Cape Town all the way to here. They host a competition, not a competition, a show called Cape Town's Most Wanted, which is a variety show at Artscape.
Right.
And I got to build the vision through there.
Is Sipho one of the directors?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Got to build the vision through there, and the 4th one was when I said, okay, cool. I want to do something that has a story. I had others, there were stories, but I was like,
this one was.
Yes, I was like, the wording that I said, I turned to one of the organizers. Her name is Cleo Nutcut, which is like Cleo Nutcut Williams.
Yes.
I said, Cleo, we're going to Broadway next year. and she understood exactly what I meant by
Yeah,
that.
okay.
And we did the piece, and I was like, this is where Locksmiths is gonna live. And then I moved to Joburg, did the corporate thing, and I saw that there's two avenues that exist. If you're gonna be a dancer, you're either gonna be a teacher or you're either gonna do corporate gigs.
Right.
And I don't want to do any of that.
Right.
And I was like, this exists in Europe. You see street dancers. Breakdancing teams
Yep.
are doing
Huge.
You know.
It's major, yeah.
And we're missing that.
We're missing that.
And I was like, this is where I want to go, and this is where I'm called, so I'm gonna do that. Cool. Continue with the tradition of choosing people by hand. I want you, I want you, I want you, I want you. And I chose some people, and we did the first edition of Musical Chairs in 2023 in November, end of November, and it was the 5 of us, and we just did the game. We just did the rendition of just going around chairs, We didn't go into
And then one chair going off and
Yes.
Okay.
Don't want to reveal too
No,
much.
no.
So I did that, and then I spoke to Aurelie. I met Aurelie through casting. I used to work for casting director.
That's right, yes.
And that's where I got to meet her, and I said, hey dude, let's work together a little bit. And she's like, sure. And she was like, we need some ladies in the show. And I was like,
There we go.
I was like, okay, cool. Then she started to handpick me and sequence it and say, who can make the show make sense? I went back to the drawing board, how can we extend the show? Because it was 30 minutes at the time.
Right.
Wrote it down, this is where we can go, this is what we can do, and these are the people that can fit. And we contacted the people. Hey, we'd like for you to be part of this. Hongani says it's a cult. It's not a cult. It's a family of sorts.
Yeah,
right?
you guys are so connected. Yeah. It's like you can feel it.
Yeah.
It's all there, and the support. Because if a production like this, if there isn't that, it will never work.
Yes.
And so, a question that I must ask in terms of directing and teaching drama. Do you have a narrative written down?
Yes.
You do? Okay, that's interesting because lots of students say, oh, do we have to? And I'm saying, yes, you do, because we can, and that's how you get your marks for the theory. So the narrative, without giving too much away, two things please, Genesis. A little bit of the narrative, and then you've mentioned 2 or 3 of the performers. If you can mention them by name, I'd like to have them also on here. And you've mentioned Sipho and Aurelie and maybe anyone else. And then of course a shout out to the Theatre on the Square, Daphne Kuhn and Regina and Loftus and Reggie. They're an astonishing team. It's a lovely place, like home there, another home. Yeah, go ahead. Thank you, Genesis.
The narrative, without giving away too much, I'll try to frame it like this.
Yes.
Musical Chairs was written in 2020, and we know what was happening in 2020.
Right.
A lot of us were existing on our phones, social media, and it took a toll on us, not realizing that it's taken a toll on us. And that's when I started asking questions. We're there, we're online, we're engaging. Things are falling apart, things are coming together, and I tend to step back and observe a lot.
Yeah. Just watch it.
Yeah, just watch, and I think as a writer it's necessary to do that. So I did that, and I looked and I introspected, I retrospected, and I said, something is off here, and I would like to highlight the thing that I think is off.
Right.
If I go any further than that, using the right words, they will know what we're talking about.
Okay.
But
Okay.
something is off, and I'd like to highlight that.
Yeah.
Bringing that with the vision of trying to get street dance into theatre.
Yeah.
You put that together, the principles that we're trying to touch within the narrative, I think people are getting that and they're feeling
100%.
Without
100%.
because we don't get to say, hey, this is this is that, this is that.
And tell,
yes.
show. Hold up the mirror.
Whatever everyone says, whatever feedback that we're getting from everybody, I know the third exists. I can hear the third existing there. And for us, that's a job well done.
Absolutely.
Like, if you can walk out of that room thinking about an engagement that you have with another human being, or an engagement that you've had with another human being, perhaps on a social media plane, then it's like, okay, cool. But it doesn't have to be on a social media, just social interaction.
Everyday interaction with people. Yes. in a daily life.
Yes.
And one of the things that achieved that brilliantly was everyday situations. I mean, when you put two chairs facing each other, there are many opportunities or possibilities. We've all been there. But when you see what happens, you're going, lovely, lovely. Also, I think what you've done brilliantly, Genesis, is I mean, nobody outshines anyone else, because that's another danger that can happen.
Yeah.
And what I loved, I think the most, was seeing people who not usually going to watch a dance movement piece where they don't say a word, and they were all there, riveted. I thought, yes, okay, we don't need the words. Hello, we need the consciousness and what's collective. It was clearly a collective there. Okay, we need to come to the end. I've held you here so much, but you're so fascinating and engaging, and you're inspired and inspiring, Genesis, and we thank you for your light, and onwards and upwards may it grow and be. Tell us about the cast, a little bit more of the cast, and then where do people go and book? When are the dates? And so that we can get that.
Cool. The cast, well, as a whole collective, we're made up of about, I think we're 10.
Yes.
Yeah, about 10, so it's 8 dancers and then 2 outside directors.
Right.
So we have in the directing team, we have Sipo Didiza, we have Aurelie Stratton, we have Ungani Globo. Ungani also then comes into the cast, making up the 8th, and so it's Ungani Globo, Genesis Shirindza, which is me, Siobhan Pina, Casey van Veek, Jordan van Veek, CJ Anthony, with Levi Paco Mutombo. Yes, and even within that cast, different people play different roles. Casey drew up our poster for us.
Okay, it's beautiful.
Jordan makes our music.
You see, it's a family. It's like
Yeah.
yeah.
And also a special mention to Leohan Hatzenberg, who designed our costumes, our stylist.
Very clever.
Yeah, and of course, as you said, the Theatre on Square team, but that team as a whole is just a bunch of people that have existed within the dance industry and have been friends and I can break bread with. Hongani came in. Hongani is an actor and he's also a dancer, but he acts on the dailies on Scheme Sound, and he was on Scandal, and he came in as a very, very influential force on the acting front.
Right.
I could only take them a certain level and space, playing so many roles as the producer, as the writer, there's only so much I could give, and he came in and he took it from where it was and he elevated it on a performance front, and I think it is felt, and everyone inside also gets to get there, and every show we get to push further and further and further. So it is a multifaceted team, which then gives out a multifaceted, multi-layered show. This, like, if I could get into the nitty-gritty of it after the show and we speak about, this is what I was trying to get across, this is what, like, there's so many layers.
Okay, so you've got 2 shows today, Saturday, and then do you have a show on Sunday? No.
Sundays and Mondays we're off, and then we're back Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And Saturday with 2 shows again.
Right.
Tickets are available on Web Tickets, also on Pick and Pay. There's student prices and there's normal prices, and I think it's something worth experiencing.
Absolutely, groundbreaking. This is the start of a big movement. We can see it. Where's it going from here?
I don't know yet.
Okay, send it up there. Send it to all the gods there.
I'd love to take it to the market.
Yes. You must call him. Tell him to come. Tell Daphne to bring. Come to.
I did an internship at the market for like 5 weeks, so I know Greg.
Oh, there you go.
I'd love for him to
invite him.
And I'm gonna pop him an email as soon as I get home now. Artscape, would love to do Artscape as well. The vision is citywide, regional-wide, national-wide, international. That's what I'm trying to get to.
And that is a perfect place to end our interview, and once again for me to say what an honor and a pleasure. Thank you, sir, for coming here, and all the best, onwards and upwards.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. See you again. Bye.